Step 1 is log into your assignment. The first activity wants us to figure out how far it is from Amarillo to Oklahoma City using the scale on the bottom. I went and grabbed a ruler with a screenshot and counted that the scale at the bottom is about 2 centimeters. When I move my ruler, I see that those 2 centimeters are equal to about 60 miles. So now I want to see how many centimeters it is from Amarillo to Oklahoma City. I count it to be about 8. So I'm going to need to figure out how many groups of 2 are in 8 centimeters. Well, I know that 8 divided by 2 is 4, so there are 4 groups of 2 in 8 centimeters. Each one of those groups is equal to 60 miles. So I know that I have to do 60 times those 4 groups. So I need to do 60 times 4. Back over in the assignment, I started writing out my thinking. So I started by saying that 2 centimeters equals 60 miles. Then I wrote that it is 8 centimeters from Amarillo to Oklahoma City. Now, because I know that 8 divided by 2 equals 4, I know that there are 4 groups of 2 in 8. I don't know why a lot of the times I tried to type I today, I accidentally wrote 8. I'm sorry, you're going to see that a few times. But this tells me that I need 4 groups of 60. So 4 times 60, what I do is I just put the 0 over there, and then I do 4 times 6, which got me 24 with the 0 at the end of 240. So my answer is about 240 miles, which here it checks with what the answer is. For the next activity, we need to figure out how wide we would draw the park on a map. Because each inch will be 15 yards, I need to figure out how many groups of 15 will fit into 75. Instead of just dividing, I end up deciding to count up in groups of 15. So when I count, I get 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. So it takes 5 groups of 15 to get me 75. So since each inch will be 15 yards, I know there's going to be 5 of those inches. For this question, we know each foot is going to be half a centimeter in the final thing. So how many groups of 1 foot are in 4.5? Well, that one's easy. There's 4 and a half. So those 4 feet will each be 1/2 of a centimeter. So 4 times 1/2 is going to get me 2. Then that half foot times half a centimeter is going to get me 1/4 of a centimeter. So I end up with 2 1/4. Here I need to figure out the scale and then apply it. The first one I need to do is the counter. I need to figure out how do I go from 2.5 inches to 5 feet. I know that there are 2 groups of 2.5 and 5, so if I multiply by 2, I'll get there. Now I need to do the same with food storage. So in the drawing, the food storage is 5 inches. So I need to do 5 multiplied by 2, which gets me 10. So the food storage is actually 10 feet long. Now we're making our own floor plan. The first thing I need to do is decide 3 things that will go in my food truck. I decided on the food window, which is roughly 2 feet in a real food truck. A range to cook food, which in my opinion should be about 4 feet. Let's have a nice big one. And then a sink to clean everything up. Very important. Which, mostly because I wanted a different number, I decided to go for 3 feet. Now I need to apply the scale. So every 1 foot in reality is 1/2 of an inch. So I need to see how many groups of 1 foot are in each of these items, and then multiply my number of groups by 1/2. Let's start with the food window. It has 2 feet, so it has 2 groups of 1 foot, and 2 times 1/2 gets me 1, so it will have 1 inch. Next I have the food range, which has 4 groups of 1 foot, so 4 times 1/2 gets me 2 inches. And last there's the sink, which has 3 groups of 1 foot, so 3 times 1/2, which gets me 1 1/2, or 1.5.